I will show you how you can build and deploy a GenAI microservices application just by using natural language prompts. Today, I'm putting together a fun little concept app that tackles the age-old existential question kids and hungry adults like me ask every night: what's for dinner? We'll vibe code the whole thing end to end using Cline with Oracle Code Assist. I will also add in some OCI's generative AI endpoints. We will throw in a Plotly Dash UI and make sure it all works. Hello everyone, I'm Burjinder, based out of Sydney. I'm a master principal cloud architect with Oracle, and I share my thoughts on fluffyclouds.blog. In this video, I'll walk you through how I plan and launch a simple yet legit GenAI application using Cline powered by Oracle Code Assist. So by the end of this session, this is something we will develop. We'll develop AI-powered application that would give us random dinner recipes. And then you will also have an option to choose the cuisine type and the dietary requirements. So it will connect to the GenAI endpoint that we have configured in the application, and it would generate those recipes. So not only the recipes are generated by this application, but it'll also connect with the Woolworths API, and it will search the ingredients. I'll give you an example. So let's say I want a Chinese, and let's say I want a Chinese vegetarian dish, and I'll click generate. So it came back with the vegetarian tofu recipe and gives me the list of all the ingredients on how do you make that dinner recipe. And not only that, all the ingredients are extracted as well from the recipe. And then we go to Woolies, and then we try to figure out the ingredient list from Woolies. And then we also provide a LLM reasoning on why this was selected. So you can see this tofu is the best choice because it provides double the quantity at a lower price point. And similarly, minced garlic and other things. So you can add them to your cart as well, and then you will be able to see the total amount. Now, remember, this website is vibe coded 100%, and I have not done any manual coding in this whole microservices application. The guide is already checked into my GitHub account, and I will post the link for it. So from the conceptual point of view, the conceptual architecture would look something like this. I will have my developer laptop. The developer laptop will connect to an Oracle Linux machine. I have already deployed OCI Linux machine. If you do not have access to OCI, you can develop it anywhere you want. You can even use the local laptop for the whole exercise. The reason I'm using an Oracle Linux machine is because it gives me a standard platform to build, and it has access and everything sorted. Now, if you go back here, so you will see that this is my API endpoint I'm using. So this will be developed using FastAPI. For the UI, you can use Streamlit, you can use Gradio, you can use Plotly. I've always used Streamlit in my previous projects. I wanted to experiment a little bit with Plotly, so that's why I was a bit inclined to exploring this one for my lab workbook. I will be connecting to the Woolworths API. It's a public API endpoint available, and then I will also be connecting to my GenAI endpoint. Now, the reason I need the GenAI endpoint is because this will generate the recipes. It'll help me with the LLM reasoning as well. There are certain prerequisites for the lab I have already completed, but I will quickly run you through. So we need VS Code. You can use any other IDE as well, but I'm a VS Code fan, and I will be using that. And I will be using the remote SSH extension to connect to my Oracle Linux machine here. But again, if you're developing it on your local machine, then you probably don't even need it. I already have Oracle Linux instance pre-configured and deployed, but if you're doing it from the scratch, you will need Python installed and Git installed in it, and some really basic tool set like container tools. SSH on the laptop, I do need need SSH connectivity because all the OCI instances by default, they need the private public key combination for connection. So that's what I've done. I've done the SSH connectivity, and I have already provided instructions on how to do that. You can do a test by just running the SSH command and see if that works. From the authentication perspective of this lab, there are a few ways in which you can do authentication in OCI. There is instance principal, there is resource principal authentication, and then there's a config file based authentication. So for this lab, I have done instance principal authentication. So for this activity, I will be using Cline. So Cline is an AI-powered coding agent, and I will cover Cline in a bit more detail when we go to VS Code. Within Cline, I will be using Oracle Code Assist. So Oracle Code Assist is one of the providers in the Cline. So the benefit of using Code Assist is you will have access to a range of AI models that you can select for this exercise. But Cline also has other providers as well. One-time setup, I have created a shell script. So shell script will give me a scaffolding that I need for this lab. So this gives me like a guiding principles on how do I want to develop these apps consistently. So here's my VS Code, and I'm going to connect to my lab, connect to host. I will be connecting to my lab user admin here. Let's go to new terminal. So let's make a new folder, mkdir. I'm going to do, let's say, lab 10 or lab 11. And I'm going to get my shell script. So shell script is loaded. I am going to make it executable first. And let's set it up. So dot setup dot shell. Okay, so my shell script is now set up, and I'm going to open the folder. It was lab 11 here. You can see that for my lab, I have a shell script that sets up scaffolding that I need for this project. Now, there are certain concepts with Cline that I want to introduce. Let's first go with what is Cline. Now, Cline is an AI-powered development agent that lets you have a complete control over your development environment. So this will automatically scan your existing code base. It'll help you do the vibe coding, and it gives you the flexibility of choosing multiple AI endpoints or multiple models if you need for your development. Now, there are certain concepts we have in Cline. The first one is a Cline rule. Now, Cline rules are non-negotiable rules that the client must follow when I'm trying to develop my application. So I've got a number of rules written for, let's say, my GenAI endpoint. So these are non-negotiable rules that I want to follow, that there is a certain way I want to use my instance principal authentication. Similarly, these are mostly technical rules that I want. Let's say for my FastAPI, this is what I want. For my DevOps, for my MCP, let's say for Dash, there are certain rules that I want to implement for my MCP. So similar to Cline, I have something called memory bank as well. So Cline memory bank is more of a project documentation. So it's a structured documentation that gives context to the client. Cline uses these techniques like Cline rules and memory bank to maintain the context over a larger window. Similarly, we have an agent.md file. So the agent will give me more of a persona on what kind of developer preferences do I have. Like I want Cline to always stick to the rules. I want to develop in a certain way. So my persona that the developer brings in will be all listed in agents.md file. I've also got a config YAML. So this config YAML that is created by my shell script is giving me the configuration information that I need for the lab. So there are certain things like when you're developing, let's say a fast API, or you're deploying a OCA container, what compartment will I use? What kind of a LLM model am I going to use? So I'm using Grok Fast Reasoning. What will be the max tokens? What's the temperature? Now, there are two types of rules. You can have a global rules as well, like let's say there are certain security standards or certain standards that you want to use across your global development environment. So they will all come into the global rules. And then there are some workspace specific rules, let's say for the project that I'm developing. Now, the beauty is that with Cline, they come with the toggle switch here. So you can, let's say you are, today you're developing a fast API. Maybe in a couple of hours, you will be developing a node application. So you can quickly switch your Cline rules to the node and then start your baseline with certain standards that everyone in your team must follow. So you can even add the global rules here. You can toggle them off, you can delete them. But if you create all these rules under a .cline rules, it'll automatically be picked up by the client. You can manage multiple MCP servers here. So local MCPs can be created. You can connect to MCP servers here. I think I already have one created, so I can toggle it off and I can manage, I can delete and maintain these MCP servers. Oracle Code Assist is one of the providers. There are Gemini, there's OpenAI, there are other providers as well. But for my use case, I will be using the Oracle Code Assist. Now, the benefit is that when I select Oracle Code Assist, I have multiple models. I can select GPT-4, 5. I've got access to few other models here. For the purpose of this lab, I will be using GPT-5 here. Now, you will see that there are two modes here. There is a plan mode, there is the act mode in your Cline. In the plan mode, it will not make any changes in the environment. So it will give you a plan. It's a great feature where you don't want to make any changes to the code, and you just want to develop an action plan and make sure you're confident with the action plan before making any kind of changes. When you're in the act mode, so act mode is where the client will go in and start making changes to the code, and it'll start editing your files and start implementing the action plan that you have already created. There are certain permissions you can manage here. You can really control on what kind of access you want client on your files. You can really uncheck everything and then manually approve every action that client is trying to do, so that you have complete control over what kind of changes are being done to your application. So for this lab, I'm going to give all the access. The first build phase is where I'm building the FastAPI application. The FastAPI application will automatically connect to my generative AI endpoint, and it will try to generate a random dinner recipe for me. Now, if you look at the prompt, I'm just passing a natural language prompt saying build a FastAPI endpoint under the fold name recipe API, read my memory bank. So this is where my standards, my client rules come into the picture, because I want to build my FastAPI with certain standards. Now, I also want it to provide an exact UVCon command. I want it to run the service as well. And once it is run, then I will test that FastAPI. So let's get started. So I'm going to copy and paste my first prompt. Anytime if you think that one of your models is not really solving the problem, you can change the model midway, let's say from GPT-5 to Grok if you want to. You can see that it has started the server, waiting for the application to start up. Proceed while this is running. And it is already logging the output to one of the log files here. Now, if we go back to our lab guide again, we can ask the client to test it, or we can just run our curl command on AD10 and API v1 recipe and see if we are getting any responses or not. The moment of truth, hopefully it'll come back with something. Here you go. So we have the get endpoint working. We have a fully functional API that is connected to my GenAI endpoint, and I'm using the Grok fast reasoning model here. And it has come back with a recipe of lemon herb salmon, and it gives you the complete recipe. Now, phase 2 is where we start adding more features to my FastAPI. So what kind of features do I need? Let's say this has only given me a get endpoint. Now I also need a post endpoint on my API. So with the post endpoint, I want the ability to do a post calls where I can pass in a specific cuisine, or I can pass in my dietary requirements. And then this API will actually come back and suggest me a dinner recipe based on my preferences. Similar to the first prompt, I will be copy pasting the prompt that I have written. I'm saying extend my backend, again read my memory bank and workshop YAML for it, and add a post endpoint. I want to add the health check and the ready endpoint as well. All I do is just copy and paste. Hopefully it will start editing my FastAPI endpoint. It has already created a post endpoint for my recipe. The post endpoint will take the cuisine, and it'll also take the dietary type as well as one of the inputs, and it will return with this model. Now it says the task completed. The server is already running. I think it's already trying to do a curl command with the Mexican vegan recipe. So I'm going to do a run and see what does it come back with. So yeah, it came with a vegan black bean recipe, and it gives me the details. It has done another API call as well with Thai basil chicken stir fry, but you can also manually do that. So I'm doing the post call here. Let's see what does it come back with. Okay, so it came back with chana masala, a recipe, and it gives me the list of ingredients I need and gives me all the cooking instructions as well. So similarly, I think you can ask the Grok to test the health check endpoint as well. It'll automatically do all the testing that you need. So you don't really manually need to do that. You can see that the health check is okay. And I've got the ready endpoint here as well. Let's look at the ready. So it gives me the signers available, service endpoint is all set, and all the my ready parameters are also available. Now I did ask Cline here in the natural language, and it's already doing all the testing, and it has come back with the results that tested, testing complete, health verified, and everything is okay. It is running another iteration of it and seems to be successful. So you saw that how we started with the bare bones structure, the scaffolding that the shell script provided. We developed a get endpoint, and then we enhanced the get endpoint with a post endpoint with the ready and health check as well. Now we are in phase 3. Now phase 3 is where we extract the list of ingredients from a recipe, and then we create it as an array. The reason we need to have the ingredients extracted as an array is because we will be using this list for searching the ingredients in the Woolworths API. I will now copy and paste my prompt and wait for the configuration to complete. Okay, so you can see that it has already started making changes to my GenAI service here. You will be able to see what changes it is making. And now it is updating my utils as well, because we'll also be doing a bit of a cleanup on the strings that are extracted, because it might have special characters and other things. So I'm going to remove the white spaces. Again, this is a part of all the standards that I want to maintain. So if I'm developing a application, I want the strings to be clean before they are passed on to, let's say, next API. So which will be Woolworths in my case. Okay, perfect. So it has now come back and it says the UVCon is already running and application startup completed. The output is getting logged as well. I'll do the post command again. Let's try a new dish this time. Let's say Australian. We'll now try to do the same post call again, and this time hopefully it'll extract a list of ingredients as well. So yep, it has perfectly done that. It's now giving me the model that I'm using. It's selecting the cuisine I'm passing, the dietary requirements, and the recipe, and it's also extracting a list of ingredients, and this list is also parsed and clean strings as well. I think it'll try to do the same kind of testing itself. So the client will not only develop, it'll test the code, make sure that it is working. The way it works is that it'll make changes. So it will also go in the observation mode, where it will then observe the output. And if there is a problem, it'll automatically go back and try to solve those problems as well. So yeah, it has done the testing and it has made sure that all the ingredients list is also extracted. Now we are on a very important phase. So we are in a next phase where I will be bringing in the Woolies context here. So I will now integrate the Woolworths API, and we will try to run the list of ingredients that we have extracted and pass it on to the Woolies. And then we'll try to search these ingredients and see if it comes back with anything. And not only that, so we are not only going to search the list, we're also going to do the LLM reasoning on the top. So if there are 4 different types of lamb chops out there, I want my LLM model to then reason on top and then figure out which is the best lamb chop available to me in terms of either price point, or if you have any personalized wishes, like you want your meat to be in a certain kind, you can mention those. So I'm going to do the same as I've done before. I'm going to copy and paste my prompt here, and it'll automatically go to my memory. I only want to return the top 2 candidates. Reason is because this is a concept application and I don't want it to be too slow, because I'm not using any of the bells and whistles. I'm not using any caching or any other mechanisms here. So that's why I want to just display the concept out there. Now there are certain API parameters I'm passing that I want a large image file to be returned. The reason is, if you try to search anything on the Woolworths, it'll give the payload is around 4,000 rows. There are specific parameters that I want to use for my dash UI. I don't want all the parameters to be displayed, because I just want to display the price and the image at the Woolworths integration service. Read my memory bank and let it do the magic. it is all done, it will automatically try to do the API call as well for the testing. But we can always, go back and then run the same post API with the Australian lamb and see what does it come back with. Okay, so you can see that it came back with the lamb chops. It came back with the image. It says that it's a best choice, and it gives me the reasoning behind it. So I've seen that sometimes the product list returned from Woolies can be a bit funny. I've had the pet food returned as well, because the LLM thinks that it is cheaper as compared to the normal salmons. You probably need to go back to your GenAI services and have the specific prompts that only return the human food. So let me try with, let's say, Italian seafood. Okay, so let's wait. It will hopefully come back with something interesting. I found one problem, that it is only returning the top one ingredient from the list. But yeah, I'll ask Cline to troubleshoot that and fix the problem. Cline was able to solve the problem. It is now coming back with a few more ingredients. It found the pasta and it gives me the reasoning that it matches the required ingredients. Minced garlic, it's the best choice as it offers the sufficient quantity I need. Now let's move to the Dash UI that I want to build. I will paste this and I will then let it do the magic. Cline has come back saying that the Dash API is now running and developed. So I will now do the port forwarding from my local laptop on port 8050. So I will be using the port forwarding from my local laptop. Hopefully we can open localhost on 8050. You can see that it created a barebone Dash API with the prompts. I can see the cuisines here, Italian, Mexican, and others, and some dietary preferences as well. Let's see if they work. I can't get any of the buttons to work, which is fine. I will now go back to my client and I will ask the client to troubleshoot this. So this is the beauty where, I don't really need to manually troubleshoot these things. Okay, so looks like the client has come back and it has reported that I was able to solve the problem. So I will now go back to my Dash UI. Let's see if the API is working. Okay, so the API came back healthy. So remember, we have a health check endpoint. That's what my Dash is actually pointing to. So I will now try the surprise me button and see if it comes back with a surprise recipe. Okay, so it came back with a garlic chicken recipe. It gives me the list of ingredients that I need. It has given me the clickable list as well. It gives me the minced garlic and virgin olive oil, and then it'll hopefully give me the reasoning as well. So is the best choice as it offers more manageable portions, and then it selected a specific olive oil as well because it offers superior value for money in my case. So let's try another one. I'm going to do a Thai, let's say a Thai vegetarian. Let's try the post. So that was a get endpoint, and now I'm going to try the post endpoint here. So there's a Thai green curry. It comes back with ingredients, gives me the steps. It will also give me the product from Woolies. This is my mince and coconut milk that I need, the green curry paste and oil and other things. So I'm now going to do the system level services update as well. I want the services to stick when I do a reboot. Just showing you an example of how Cline can not only build new softwares for you or build new APIs, but it can also manage the systems and also do the system level changes for you if you want. So now you can see that both the services are installed, system units, and it's already set up. And it has given you instructions as well on you can restart both the services if you want and enable them. So I will just say do the testing, show me the service status, show me the. So you can just manually do this as well, but I will ask Cline to do that. You can see that my API service is active. You can see the status is active and running. It has also tested the API as well, the API health after the reboot, which means that my services are up and running without any issues. So now we are at the stage where we will be creating the MCP server. So we will create a local MCP server to do the post API calls and to do the get API calls using the natural language. I will not go into too much details of what is MCP, but MCP is a standard out there that was created by Anthropic. It's a model context protocol, which is a new standard when you are connecting the AI assistants with your system, and it is commonly known as like a USB interface in your AI environment. I will again be sticking to my format where I will have a prompt pasted to my clients. Okay, so after a few rounds of troubleshooting, looks like the client was able to resolve the problem. Now, if I go to my MCP server, you will see that my recipe API MCP is now showing up. So we will do one more round of testing to see if my MCP is working or not. Okay, perfect. So this has come back. Here is the Mexican seafood dinner recipe. You will see that it automatically did the post API call. It figured out that I need to do a post and it came back with spicy shrimp tacos. So this concludes my vibe coding workshop. So where you were able to build a working concept application that is connected to the GenAI and is also generating dinner recipes with the LLM reasoning. Well, thank you everyone for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed the content.
Please like and subscribe. And smash that share button if you like my dad's videos.